what I'm going to do is tell you a little bit about the exploitation of Visualise, because what Dave has described is the research project, and what Sean's told you is what the TSB cares about is it used for anything after the research is over. And what we showed during the project was the technology worked and that people really liked it. Very enthusiastic response from spectators. Also, for what is a new service, everybody got it. You didn't have to spend time explaining what it was. Everybody, you show them it and they realize what it is, what it's for, and how to use it. And that's quite important for a new technology. If you have to spend a quarter of an hour explaining to the potential customer what it is, that makes it a very difficult sell. So who should be exploiting this? And typically on one of these type of projects, what the TSB is looking for is that the partners will exploit the technologies. What you see in something like this is the partners develop technologies and they use those technologies themselves. But the main value of Visualise was the whole system, rather than the point technologies that make up the system. And none of the partners we had in our consortium was looking to move into this new business area, what would be a completely new business for any of them. So what we decided to do was to create a new company in order to do this. Just make a startup to make this happen. There are a couple of caveats with our startup. The first is this is a new sort of service, and experience tells us that technologists always underestimate how difficult it is to get a new technology-based service into the market. You know, just look at 3G or something like that. You know, it takes a lot longer than you think, and it's harder than you think when it's a new type of service. There's also a problem we have, which is the service we have runs on high-end PDAs or very high-end mobile phones, sort of Windows mobile type mobile phones. Good news is that's the most rapidly expanding part of the market. The bad news is it's about 10% penetration today of those sort of phones, and you really don't want to base your business model on something which only 10% of the population have, of your target population have. So we're going to have to wait a bit until there are enough phones to make this a really good economic proposition. There are three problems. One is processor speed. That just happens. Moore's law handles that one. Second is the display. If you're out of doors, most mobile phone displays are very difficult to read today. But we're seeing new technologies, the reflective displays that are going to deal with that. And battery life is always a problem. If you think about something where you would be using your mobile phone all day, most mobile phones won't last that long. So our approach, for those of you who are keen on Geoffrey Moore, he's a business guru. This is straight out of a book called Crossing the Chasm. You look for a bowling pin. You look for a niche to develop your technology in, and then you expand to other markets from there. And the point about the first niche is, ideally you want it to be a fairly small niche, because it has to be something you can cope with as a small company. So we're not going to go for worldwide soccer in our first thing. That feels a bit big and scary. We'll debug within our niche, and then we expand, and gradually we take over the world, rather than trying to take over the world with our first product and our first company with 3 people. And our niche is cricket, very English. It's smallish. For us, what's important is we have a very enthusiastic local partner, the Gloucestershire County Cricket Club, who can see the value of this in terms of enhancing the experience for cricket spectators. And there is a realistic chance we can get exclusive UK rights for this sort of service in cricket, which is obviously very important. Again, negotiating for exclusive rights of soccer would be a fairly scary and difficult thing to do. Cricket combines all the things we want. The video feed, the key thing about the video feed in cricket is it's delayed. You can see, if you're sitting at a cricket match, you can see everything that's going on. However, what spectators will tell you is the wicket always falls while you're queuing at the bar or you've gone to the toilet. And the thing about cricket is, if it's a 4-day match, you are not watching closely for 4 days. You know, your attention inevitably is elsewhere, and Sod's law tells you that's where the exciting thing will happen. So the ability to replay the video is really valuable there. And cricket nuts love statistics. And of course, with this sort of service, we can provide them with all the statistics their hearts desire. But we can also provide them with online scorecards. If you go to a ground like Gloucestershire's ground, they've got an up-to-date scoreboard, electronic scoreboard, which is essentially an electronic version of the old scoreboard where they had those pieces of metal that they used to hang on hooks. The amount of information provided is exactly the same. It shows you the scores for the 2 batsmen who are in, and the total, you know, and how many people are out. But it doesn't give you a scorecard, the sort of scorecard you would expect from the television. And we can provide that sort of information as well. Some people actually take blank scorecards with them on a piece of paper and they fill them in during the game using a pen. So our rollout plan is Bristol first, England next, and then the world. The world in 2 senses. One is, if you were going to make money out of cricket, the place you would go to would be India and Australia as obvious candidates. You know, there's an awful lot more cricket going on in India than the UK. But also looking at other sports. And this is not restricted to sporting events. Events like Glastonbury, you can easily imagine, large spectator events. The Olympics, if you're going to do sporting events, again, feels a bit big and scary to us right now. But that's all within the scope of what we're looking for as we gradually take over the world. So watch this space, and you saw it first. Thank you.